Hi everyone, I am Selena. My daughter's name is Shavaya and welcome to Perima's kitchen. Today we are going to be cooking up a classic butter chicken. Unlike my 30-minute recipe, this is a bit longer. There is more time to prep and I use yogurt. My method is also a bit different. There's some blending also involved. There are so many variations, but I'll try my best to explain this one. If you are looking for the 30-minute butter chicken video, please go and check it out now. It does not have any yogurt, but you can add a couple tablespoons. This recipe does have a lot of yogurt. So I'm using 1 kg of chicken breast, fillet chicken that is boneless, skinless, and I've just cubed it. So the first step of the marinade is to add the juice of 1 lemon. Next, I'm adding my yogurt or curd. This is about a cup, almost a cup full. You can add less yogurt if you just want to fry your chicken. I'm making it extra rich today, a little bit more decadent, so therefore a little bit more yogurt. So that was about 4.5 tablespoons. This yogurt will really help in the marinade. It will help to tenderize your chicken. It's best to leave this overnight, but if you don't have that time, you can do it 30 minutes prior to cooking. For my spices, I'm adding a teaspoon of Garam Masala, a teaspoon and a half of Jeera powder, a heaped teaspoon of turmeric, a tablespoon of crushed ginger and garlic, some salt, and finally 1 tablespoon of chili powder. So this is the marinade and I will mix it now. As mentioned previously, ideally you should leave it overnight, at least 24 hours covered in the fridge. If you don't have the time, you can do it 30 minutes prior to cooking. It really does help tenderize the chicken. With my butter chicken recipe in 30 minutes, which is my other video, I did not use yogurt, and as I mentioned there, the flavors are stronger. So it will become a bit more subtle now that I've added yogurt. You can also use cashew nuts, not in the marinade, but in your chutney when you're cooking. And that can go into your liquidizer as well for your paste, your butter chicken base. If somebody has an allergy or they prefer not to have cashews, you can just completely leave it out. So all the spices will now be given a chance to infuse into the chicken. We can cover it. If you want to leave it overnight, put it in the fridge, otherwise set it aside. So I've left my chicken to marinate for over an hour. I'm now starting to prep the rest of my butter chicken. To my hot pot, I'm adding some oil, but not a lot of oil. It probably is about 2 tablespoons of oil. The reason for that is I am adding a tablespoon of butter. There will be more butter added later on. We'll let that butter melt and then we will prepare to add all of the chicken. So I'm ready now to add my marinated chicken. I'll just add spoonfuls of the chicken into the butter. Now, if you decided to use less yogurt, like maybe 2 tablespoons instead of 4, like I have, it will fry up a bit more dry, which is perfectly fine. It doesn't really matter because all that goodness will kind of get stuck onto your pot, and we're going to use it anyway. All of that caramelized chicken pieces will be used in the base anyway. So mine will be a little bit more moist. So my purpose right now is to just sear that chicken. I'm going to leave it for about 10 to 12 minutes. If you are using less yogurt, You probably only need about 8 to 10 minutes. So I have not closed my pot lid. We leave it with the open pot lid and give it a mix occasionally. All of the juices will be released, so it's going to be quite moist. Also remember, I added extra yogurt, so it won't be like a fry up. So it's been about 12 minutes. I'm now ready to remove my chicken pieces. I will just take spoonfuls out and put it in a bowl next to me, and then drop the rest of the liquid into the bowl. So I will let all the chicken and its sauces rest on the side, and we will continue cooking using the same pot. I'm now going to add my 2nd tablespoon of butter. In my 30-minute recipe, I only used 1 tablespoon of butter. In this recipe, I'm using 3. There's my butter chicken, which is resting on the side while we prepare the chutney. It is butter chicken after all. As soon as the butter melts, you can start adding your 1 large sliced onion. Mix your onion into the butter. We are going to wait for the onion to not brown, but it'll become a bit more translucent. You will smell that beautiful aroma of the onion and the butter. I will also add 2 chillies, and you just need to leave it for a while. You have to have some patience now. We don't want to rush it. We want the onions to release all of its sweetness, and then only add our tomatoes. So I left my onions for about 4 to 5 minutes, stirring it occasionally. And now I'm ready to add my tomatoes. I'm using 2 large tomatoes that I've just diced up. I'm adding half a teaspoon of sugar. Next, I'm adding a tablespoon of my masala. You don't necessarily have to add any masala, you can leave it out. I will still add half a teaspoon of turmeric. We don't need a lot of turmeric because we've already added a heaped teaspoon in our marinade. So we're going to add some more salt in a moment. Not too much, but we will add enough because we have added salt to our chicken marinade. We will leave it to simmer with a closed lid. We need the tomatoes to reduce down. This is an important step. It really helps with the flavor of this dish. If you are using cashew nuts, you can actually add about half a cup of your cashew nuts now to your chutney and let it braise with the tomatoes and the onions. So it's been about 5 to 10 minutes. I was waiting for it to dry up a bit, and this is exactly again what we wanted, for it to reduce down. This is now perfect to add to my liquidizer. So I've added about a 1/4 cup of water into my blending cup, and now I will scoop all of the chutney into the blending cup. So get everything into your cup. I am fast forwarding it, and remember, if you had your cashews in your chutney, your cashews will also go in. We will blend everything together. Get all that residue, everything out. So again, I've only added about a 1/4 cup of water and the rest of my chutney. We will blend it for about 30 to 45 seconds. So coming back to the same pot, I'm adding my 3rd tablespoon of butter. If you're using unsalted butter, then remember to add a little extra salt. If you're using salted butter, then remember not to add too much of salt. I'm adding a dash of oil. Let your butter melt and then remove all of that residue from your pot. We will then add our blended tomato chutney mix. Remember, we had onions, tomatoes, 2 green chilies and our spices in there. If you add cashews, you'll also have cashew nuts all blended together. The color is already so beautiful. Just add it to your pot. You can lower your stove. We don't want it to splash too much. Don't waste any of that. Add a dash of water to your cup and rinse out all of that into your pot. Next, mix everything into the butter. Your sauce will have a lovely silky texture. It looks so glossy, and now we are ready to add all our chicken pieces. Some of my family members and some of my friends mentioned that they usually buy a cook-in sauce when they're making butter chicken, and I'm super chuffed that they now have an alternative. It's already so rich and creamy. Bear in mind, we only fried it up earlier for about 10 to 12 minutes. So we will leave it for about another 20 minutes and then check on it. So it's been about 20 minutes. You can see the butter and oil that starts to surface. Be careful when you're mixing, it can splash. Also check your consistency. And now for Perima's top tip. Next, I'm adding half a teaspoon of my Garam Masala. Remember, I added a teaspoon into my marinade, but I also add half a teaspoon towards the end of our cooking time. The sauce is just looking so delicious. We're not going to add any water. Remember, we still have to add cream. It's only when you think that it's too thick do you need to add a dash of boiling water. So we'll leave this for only a few minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. So please be careful when you are stirring. It does splash a bit. You can turn down your stove and stir it in slowly. We are going to now add our cream and let it simmer on a very low heat. I'm now going to add my cream. I'm only using about 100 milliliters of cream. In my 30-minute butter chicken recipe, I do use a lot more cream because I'm not using any yogurt. I do keep about 50 milliliters of cream aside, which I will use to drizzle on the top and garnish then with some dhania. If you are serving in a beautiful serving bowl, just pour it or drizzle it on top of your butter chicken and garnish with your dhania. So I let it simmer for only a few minutes with the cream on a very low heat. You can give it a final mix and then turn your stove off. So you can empty everything into a serving bowl and then garnish with your fresh dhania and then a drizzle of cream. I'm doing it now straight in the pot. It smells absolutely divine and it looks rich and decadent. This is just the finishing touch. The kids can't wait to tuck in. And there you have it, butter chicken. You can serve it with some fresh basmati rice or naan. As usual, all the ingredients are found in the drop-down description below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you are notified when a new video is uploaded. Kindly like and share, and your comments are always very welcome. See you again soon in Perima's kitchen.